as we said, we are very excited to announce this victory, and we were worked with our friends at Empower Oversight, empoweroversight.org. The president of Empower Oversight, Tristan Levitt's joining us now. Tristan, you've been on this broadcast before when this began over a year ago, and then for you it was 2 years ago, starting to represent these whistleblowers. I want to kind of focus on how we got here in the first place, because both of these individuals, Marcus Allen, who ultimately gets the vindication and the justice so that he can go and continue his life, Garrett O'Boyle, who we're going into federal court for with a reply brief on Friday at the D.C. Court of Appeals, with the FBI trying to get it tossed out. But the idea that a whistleblower who follows through the correct channels that have been set up by Congress can still be retaliated against this way, so openly by the FBI. And yes, we can take these individuals and ultimately get justice, but you think about it, if other people look at this situation, it's not like you got people running to become whistleblowers, which is why we so often we get these reports. We don't have a face or a name to put with the information that gets to Congress, that gets to investigators. So I kind of want to walk through people that why is it our laws, or is it the agencies that aren't protecting these individuals?
Well, in this case, it's a combination of both. So when the modern whistleblower protection laws were written in 1978, the FBI was given special treatment. And that was the state of affairs for several decades. Right here on the wall next to me in my office is a framed copy of a law that we passed in 2016 to strengthen the laws for FBI whistleblowers. So it used to be that FBI whistleblowers disclosures to their supervisors weren't even protected, unlike every other type of federal employee whistleblower where those are protected. So there have been some strengthening, but there really ultimately are still just a lot of weaknesses in that law. And so that's why for Marcus Allen, he had to go to the Justice Department Inspector General instead of going to the Office of Special Counsel where I used to work, or the Merit Systems Protection Board I used to sit on. All other federal employees by and large can go to those things. So you've got weak laws, you've got weak process, and you've got an agency that just is retaliatory, that tries to push out those that don't have views similar to those in its echelons of leadership.
Yeah, and in Marcus's situation, I mean, he's an Iraq War veteran, American here, goes in continuous service to the country. None of these individuals, and you work with them at Empower Oversight, but when they're coming to you and they feel like they've got to take this path as a whistleblower or go through Congress, I don't think any of them are trying to become a name or a story. Oftentimes in our world, in the media world, you see these individuals were doing their job. They were going to, in Garrett O'Boyle's case, he was just starting a new position with the FBI the day he gets suspended. He had just moved, just had a child, and that day he gets suspended. I mean, they're not trying to become a name in the world that we work in, but they have to survive and ultimately then to seek justice. Which, I mean, I'm glad groups I thank our donors and your donors to Empower Oversight, because again, to fight these 2-year battles against an agency that has an endless coffers to go and try to take these rights away from individuals and ruin their life so that they can't even work. I mean, maybe walk people, Tristan, to the power of these security clearances, to have that top secret clearance. When that's suspended, you can't just say, well, I quit, I'll go get a job. I mean, it's like your life is on hold.
Right. Absolutely. And that's an FBI unique construct. So other agencies as well, if your security clearance is suspended, you're not able to work. But the FBI particularly uses this suspension of security clearances very frequently for cases that have nothing to do with security allegations. So, again, in this case for Marcus Allen, it was disclosures to his leadership about FBI Director Chris Wray potentially misleading Congress in his testimony. That's a significant disclosure. And so if there are concerns about that, there's ways that the FBI could respond to that. But suspending a security clearance sets off a process where he's without pay. Any request for outside work was denied. And so that's where you end up with him receiving 27 months of back pay, because for all of that time, he was unjustly, not compensated. And so now he has both his back pay, his benefits, all of this coming back to him. But you think of how long someone, going that long without a paycheck, it's just outrageous. Yeah. And again, you don't see that in most other agencies. And of course, the Justice Department Inspector General put out a report just several weeks ago talking about how this is really a stacked deck against whistleblowers, because even if someone absolutely does everything in the right way, makes protected disclosures, absolutely is a whistleblower, the kind of person we want to protect, the FBI has no obligations to move quickly in any way on that security clearance adjudication. So that's why Marcus went a year before there was ever a proposed revocation. And then once they proposed the revocation, we requested the documents behind it. It's another 6 months before we get the documents. We write a response to them. It's another 6 months before we get a decision here. And so this is just a process that's designed to squeeze out whistleblowers, to bleed them drop by drop until they can't fight the FBI anymore.
Yeah, and we exist, and you exist, and your organization exists as well, because we say, you know what, we can fight those battles with you for those 2 years if we've got to, and go through the court process that we need to make sure you get your back pay, to make sure you're reinstated. But it should be that way. And I wanted to ask you too, even about the reports. They're even trying to utilize this kind of settlement and moving forward to say, well, we don't need the report anymore from the Inspector General.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a tricky. I mean, it is often the case in agencies that if someone had filed and then they engage in a settlement, then they'll withdraw the complaint, sure, right? And so then the investigating agency has to make a decision about whether or not to issue a report. Of course, we sent a letter today, Empower Oversight, to Inspector General Michael Horowitz, waiving any Privacy Act rights on the part of Marcus Allen, to say, we encourage you to go and speak about what you found about his case. We're not afraid of anything. We're not trying to hide behind the Privacy Act. Go tell the world, go tell the press, go tell Congress what you discovered about the whistleblower retaliation complaint that we filed on Marcus's behalf. And so we're very hopeful that they will take that opportunity to explain what they found, because just getting this corrective action for Marcus is good. We want to make sure it doesn't happen for other people. And so that means that we have to expose the process that led to this and the FBI abuses that put Marcus in a position where the FBI could walk all over him for 27 months, and he couldn't do anything about it until now.
Tristan, we appreciate, of course, we continue to work with you guys at Empower Oversight with Garrett O'Boyle, and if we do with others, we will with others, and appreciate your team's work on this, and also standing with these whistleblowers, because, folks, again, as you heard from Tristan, 27 months without pay. We got involved in this, I guess it's about 13 months ago, when we you go through the court process. So right as you were seeing them testify, we start going again to federal court. And in Garrett O'Boyle's situation, we're just at the Court of Appeals reply brief level this Friday. And again, you're still fighting to get back pay. You're still fighting to make sure that his life can be put on track. So while we've got this great victory for Marcus Allen, let's not forget Garrett O'Boyle, and let's make sure in that situation that again, he is vindicated, that he receives that justice as well. Because when we talk about this, we talk about the FBI, we talk about the weaponization of law enforcement. I mean, to be able to put two different topics, but to be able to actually put names with the story, it's very important. It's not just leaks coming out of the agencies. That's not what we're supporting here at the ACLJ. We're talking about individuals trying to do the right thing inside these agencies that have been corrupted, that have been just overrun with abuse. But you can get vindication, and you can get justice. We thank you for standing with the ACLJ, as again, it's a great example of your donations at work. I mean, if just that, it's your donations at work, the champions who donate each month automatically at aclj.org. And we encourage you as well to sign and stand with a petition for these whistleblowers. As you heard, there's work to do. As Tristan said, we're going to do that policy work as well at aclj.org/sign.